out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. So let's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Welcome to the Let's Get To Holiday Special. Surely better than the original Star Wars Holiday Special from the 70s.
And welcome to the Let's Get To Holiday Special. I'm your host, James Christopher, and we are excited to be bringing this episode to you. I'm as excited now as I was when I got this sweet Baseballism hat and sweater. We love the folks at Baseballism, particularly their Christmas line, so bringing a little style and fun to the game. But again, we are really excited for this episode. We've been working on it for months. We have been writing scripts and re-editing things and sending notes back and forth. I've pretty much included every member of the Let's Get To team. I have brought in people from my film business. I have brought in students to help with some of this stuff to really bring you something positive and fun in 2020. And so we are going to celebrate Christmas, and we're going to celebrate Hanukkah, and we're even going to celebrate Festivus. And in fact, for those of you who don't know what Festivus is, you should look it up. But in honor of December 23rd, we are giving everyone who listens to this show a present from Let's Get To you. So everyone who listens to this show on Festivus will get a donation in their name to the Human Fund. You're welcome. But again, we have a great show for you today. We have a short film. We're doing some Hanukkah stuff. And we're also going to be doing an interview with maybe the most important Christmas icon of all time, Santa Claus. And in that interview, we're going to hear from people all over the spectrum of the sport, from fans like you and me, to people in baseball ops for all over minor league baseball, to kids, and also to some podcasters and Twitter sports personalities that we really support and endorse. And everybody's going to have their Twitter handle on there. I recommend following all of them, in particular the Hitter Sports, in particular Emily Nyman from Breaking Balls, and in particularly the folks from Mansplain, because they do a great job bringing other fun baseball content. But like I said, this episode, we are going to keep it fun. We've even got the Christmas gift of a new baseball team that we're going to talk to. So we are leaving the negativity of 2020 behind us. We know some of it will still be there in January when we roll around, but we've earned it. Okay? We've made it through no real baseball. We're making it through COVID as best as we can. At least what we can do is look back and for an hour or so, maybe laugh and smile about the thing that we all love, the thing that brings us all together if you're watching this show, and that is the great game of baseball. So stick with us.
Holler and a Swaller, a chug of ballpark brew, presented by the Hitter Sports.
And welcome to Holler and a Swaller, presented by the Hitter Sports. And no, you are not having a nightmare. And yes, I'm dressed in pink, but I'm of course wearing the pink nightmare outfit from A Christmas Story in the first segment of the show. Why? Because we've got some fun in store for you this episode. We've got a lot of holiday stuff going on. We are trying to keep it light. We've got a short film coming, and I thought, what better way to set the mood and to kind of put us off on the right start than this, right? At this point, it's all downhill or uphill, depending on your perspective. But no, we are here to sample our last 2 Christmas beers that we've picked for the show. Those of you who don't remember, the point of this segment is to be trying new beers out at ballparks, staying away from the Coors Light and the Michelob and the Bud Light and all the stuff that's basically urine. And to get into some of our more culturally distinctive. But because of COVID, we can't do that. So we've been going to Specs and Total Wine and our favorite local little liquor stores to find new stuff. And so I've picked 2 very specific beers for us today. And I've got one from Texas, Houston, Texas to be precise, because obviously my love of the Astros, my family's there, a lot of my heart's there. And then we've got one from Newport, Oregon, where my daughter Jordan, Max, and the grandkids are. So I thought I would give a taste to these beers, and I want to toast my baseball family with this Holler and a Swaller. This season could have been awful. In many ways, this season was rough, but it was made better by the people that I know love me, like my wife and kids and brother and the contributors to the show, who really were very generous with their love, but also with people that I met through baseball and on Twitter. And I'm not one who talks to people, believe it or not, very easily. But I can at a ball game, and in some ways, some of my Twitter interactions kind of replace that. So we're going to start with my first of all, my completely badass Millennium Falcon bottle opener with Newport Brewing's 2019 Rogue Santa's Private Reserve. ASMR. All right, so maybe not the greatest ASMR. Now listen, I'm going to be going out of my other National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation glass with this one. I know that my English teacher, Mrs. Clark, used to tell me not to mix metaphors. I hope it's okay to mix movie references, but we'll see. And so they describe this beer. This year, Santa visited us in Newport and brought along some candy cap mushrooms that he had picked himself. He said they added a delicious maple flavor to the brew, and boy, was he right. Boasting a deep, sweet maple flavor and aroma, this year's Santa's Private Reserve is certain to bring the holiday cheer. And so, again, Holler and a Swaller. You very much can taste very much a maple undertone. Very smooth beer. Very delicious. Now, the other thing we have is the St. Arnold's. We've had other St. Arnold's on the show before, but this is Ye Old Christmas Ale. And this was one of the very first Christmas beers I'd ever had. Still one of my favorites. St. Arnold's, for all the beer that comes out of Austin, and Houston's kind of catching up, St. Arnold's is one of the very first microbrews that I'd ever heard of. I think I first toured their brewery like in 95 with Marty Tom Chesson, Andy Tom Chesson's brother. That Andy's the one who does the show. And so I was really excited to kind of cap off our tasting of Christmas beers with a classic one that I love. ASMR. Yeah. Incredibly light, incredibly crisp, incredibly smooth going down. This is the St. Arnold's that I know, the St. Arnold's that I love, the St. Arnold's that I drink at Minute Maid Park in home a lot. I kind of cycle through some regular beers, so St. Arnold's is always on the list. So again, enjoy the rest of our Christmas episode. Holler and a Swaller, baby.
Show me the merch. The best from the pro shop.
And welcome to Show Me the Merch. We are hanging out. I'm still dressed like the Pink Nightmare from A Christmas Story. And because I'm a nice postmodern self-referential filmmaker, I'm also going to drink the You'll Shoot Your Eye Out Karbach Brewing while I do this. I really drink way more beer on the show than I do in real life. Become a wine guy. But Baseball Santa, who we have on in the next episode, thought that I must have been a very good boy because I awoke to these packages downstairs. And so I want to dive right into them because they're a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see some of the new looks that we got from the big guy up north. So we're going to start with Shake, Shake, Shake. I don't think it's a puppy, but I wonder if a puppy will fit into our narrative. That's foreshadowing. So we're starting with the Southern Maryland Blue Claws. And first of all, I love the look of this hat. I love the branding design. We had these guys on the show before, and I'm a big sucker for the Carolina blue on the navy look, and I think it's so clever with this, with the claw being the C. But I picked this up, one again, like we had them on our show, but also got the super sweet hoodie. But I wanted to kind of do a shout out to Erik and Tammy Adair, some of our greatest friends who we both served with back in the Army. My wife and I were very close to them, still close to this day. You've heard them on these airwaves. Now, our next team in the bright red box, this was a Hallmark movie. This would be the significant present. The Frisco Rough Riders, one of the classiest teams in minor league baseball, Texas League team. They use Teddy Roosevelt as their main mascot, and everything drives from that. We got the cool maroon ball cap, which, yeah, I know, I'm a Longhorn. I said the maroon was cool. Look, it's a good color. Longhorns don't erase colors from the spectrum for silly reasons. I also got a really cool distressed t-shirt with the R logo in the bottom. And again, the distressed t-shirt, it's always sort of funny to me that we spend money on things that look like they've already been worn. But it's capitalism, baby. And then, last but not least, the Spokane Indians. So we start with the regular game day cap, which has the block S and the super cool feather down below. The other thing that we got was their Salish cap. And listen, the thing is, there's a lot of controversy today with native iconography being used for sports teams. And I think a lot of it's super justified. I think that we could all agree that the Redskins is an awful name for a team, that the tomahawk chop is probably best left in the 90s. But what I like about the Spokane Indians is that the Spokane Nation had a lot to say with the branding of the team, with what looks they went through to make sure that it was a respectful reflection of Native American culture. And that includes Salish, which is the language of the Spokane Nation, on the hat. And we also have Salish on a version of the Spokane Indians main logo tee. So these three teams were picked specifically for a lot of reasons, but I wanted to point out that we bought this gear on Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday. The fact is that this has been a rough year for all three of these teams. For the most part, there's been no baseball. They are dealing with having not really sold a ticket and going on 18 months. And on top of that, for a couple of the teams, and in many teams throughout minor league baseball, they are playing a life and death game of musical chairs, where there's 120 chairs and 160 teams going in a circle, and you got to hope you're not one of the 40 teams that doesn't have a seat. And on top of that, Rob Manfred's probably playing like bad Bee Gees remixes just to make it extra torturous. And so while these teams are dealing with the financial difficulties, the uncertainty of their future, having to lay off employees, which no business ever wants to do, particularly a small business, they are still providing testing sites. They are still making their food available for to-go items. They're still entertaining us on social media. They have been there for us in this year. We need to be there for them. So we have 7 days of Hanukkah left, plenty of shopping days until Christmas. I highly recommend, if you have a sports fan in the family that wants something cool and different, look at minor league baseball or indie league or collegiate summer league. You're bound to find something really, really cool and unique. And I mean, imagine wearing this hat. I can't tell you the number of times I've worn a hat from minor league baseball, like in a brewery in Toronto of all places, wearing a team from the East Coast, and someone coming up to me and saying, "Cool hat. Where did you get it?" Because yeah, the hat is super cool, but the people that are behind the hat and the small businesses you're supporting are even better.
And now James Christopher brings you On the SLEIGH, the Let's Get To special interview.
So we have a great on deck segment for you today. We have an excellent guest live and in studio, but socially distanced. We don't want to get COVID or pixie dust, right? Elf dust on us. The man who needs no introduction, the man who everybody knows his name. You better watch out. You better not cry, because we have got the jolly old elf himself, Santa Claus.
Well, thanks for having me, Jim. It is a honor to be here.
So I'm not going to lie to you, Santa. When you agreed to do this, I got incredibly nervous. I really was afraid that I would go full Chris Farley, and from Saturday Night Live when he's interviewing Paul McCartney, he's like, "Remember that time when you were with the Beatles? It's awesome." And I didn't want to turn into like, JoJo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet. That's how nervous I am. I'm doing like 2 Chris Farley references in one opening segment. I would be this nervous if I was interviewing you or Steven Spielberg or Craig Biggio or even Troy Aikman. And from what I understand, Troy Aikman like hates the military now. So you'd be even bigger than Troy Aikman for me.
I get that a lot.
Now, before we get started on our actual interview, I thought it would be a great idea to let everybody know what teams we're wearing. Now, I am wearing the LeHigh Valley Iron Pigs Christmas in July hat, along with my Corpus Christi Hooks ugly Christmas jersey, which is really beautiful, signed by Astros ace Framber Valdez, and I think we can probably credit me for his resurgence.
Well, I'm wearing the Modesto Nuts Christmas hat and the old Hannibal Hoots Christmas in July jersey. I threw out the first pitch. Oh, it was a real snowball.
But I do want to thank you so much for joining us, Santa. I want to get you out of here because I know that time is starting to really run short. So thanks so much again for joining us.
Thank you so much again for having me. I always have time for my favorite podcaster. I haven't seen this guy since the Gateway Grizzlies game of 19. But it's nice to get on and talk a little baseball before I jump into my wild card round, as they say.
Are you a big baseball fan?
I'm a huge fan, Jim. See, it's really the only sport I can watch the whole season of. I mean, basketball, let's be honest, it's everyone's greatest waste of time. And then by the time football comes around, I'm really hard at work. So really, I set my calendar by baseball. When the last out of the World Series happens, well, then it's off to work.
So speaking of the time crunch and everything, how has things changed at the North Pole for you? I know everything's super modern. We're teaching on Zoom now. Shout out to my St. Michael's kids. Look who I'm interviewing. But how has the North Pole changed for you?
Easy. Analytics, or Elf-Alytics, if you will.
Analytics?
Yeah, see, we track each worker using the Elf Track system, which is a series of little cameras for little people. I know short jokes about elves are about as tired as short jokes about Jose Altuve. What can I tell you? We don't get a lot of comedy up there in the North Pole. But we basically track all of our workers. Now let's take Buttons the Elf. Now Buttons the Elf is a great hammerer. In 2018, he was Hammer of the Year. But we have learned through Elf-Alytics that he's not as effective the third time through the line. So we monitor his progress, we watch his little hammering, and then when it comes time for the third time through the work line, we pull in a relief elf.
Really? Even if he's like on a roll, just really hammering it out, you would pull him?
Take him out. That's the plan. Third time through the line. What if he doesn't hammer his little hammer hard enough and the nail doesn't come through and then little Sally cuts herself? What do we do then?
Just take him out.
That's Elf-Alytics.
But what if, he's just hammering? 2 times through the line, he's not missing. He hasn't pounded his little thumbs at all. He is just hammering and hammering and hammering. And you haven't seen him hammer like this, ever. And you realize that you'll have other hammerers, but you don't know how many hammerings are left in those hammerers. And it's Christmas Eve even. And you don't know if you're going to need to, hammer on Christmas Eve too. So you should maybe think about that. You would just take him out.
Elf-Alytics, my man. You gotta trust the process.
Okay, so tell me, what players this year have made the nice list?
So many players on the nice list. Mookie Betts, nice list. DJ LeMahieu, nice list. Charlie Blackmon's on the nice list just because of that beard, and I would know.
Okay, and what about the naughty list?
Interestingly enough, not only is Joe Kelly on the naughty list, he's always been on the naughty list. He's never been off of it. That face he made is the face he always makes. It's the face his face is going to get stuck in. In fact, from now on, we're going to be calling him Little Joey Pout Pout. I think that's the most appropriate name for him.
I'm not going to lie, Santa. We did, let some of our friends know that we were going to have you on the show. And I know you had asked for secrecy, and I'm sure that's a mark on the list for me. But we do have some fans of yours and of baseball who have had some special Christmas wishes for their own baseball teams that they would love for you to hear.
Santa Jim, all I want for Christmas is a 2021 Yankees World Series championship. Okay? I've been good for a long time now. Over 10 years I've been good. I'll stop cussing. I'll stop drinking as much. I'll do whatever it takes. Bring my Yankees 2021 World Series championship.
Happy holidays, guys. It's Marty Cordero. Letting you guys know I hope that Baseball Clause brings you what I'm asking for. And that is some normalcy. That is some answers about what the 2021 professional baseball season is going to bring to both minor league and Major League Baseball. Stay safe out there.
Hi, I'm Erik the Peanut Guy with the Tri-City Dust Devils. And Super Bowl champion quarterback Russell Wilson actually was our second baseman in 2010. So all I want for Christmas this year is for Russell to come back, play just one more game for us, and then to be my best friend.
Hey everybody, this is Emma Tiedemann, the Director of Broadcasting and play-by-play voice of the Portland Sea Dogs, and all I want for Christmas is minor league baseball.
Hi, this is Joe Putnam, Director of Communications for your State College Spikes. And on December 25th, what do I want from Baseball Santa? I want it to be May so we can start our 15th season of Making Dear Friends in Happy Valley.
What do the Cardinals need for Christmas? Woo! I got the answer for you, baby. The Cardinals need to take a page out of the Rolex wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, jet flying, limousine riding, son of a gun, the nature boy, woo! Ric Flair. And they need to bring themselves back some swag. Remember, baby, you are 11-time world champions. You own and dominate the National League Central. So bring Yadier Molina back. Woo! Get yourself some outfield hitting. Woo! And go on off and win the National League Central, the National League, and get yourself back to the World Woo Series because you are champions, baby, just like the Nature Boy. Woo!
I'm Alicia Rivera, actress from San Antonio, Texas, and all I want for Christmas is a shortstop with a pitcher of margaritas.
Hello, Baseball Clause. I am Ben Hill from MILB.com, and I'd like many things from you. I'd like for every minor league baseball team to recover fully from the season that wasn't in 2020 and to find peace in 2021 with whatever their situation may be. And also, more selfishly, but perhaps more importantly, I think it's time for me, a lifelong chronicler of minor league baseball, to have my own bobblehead giveaway at ballparks nationwide. Every team should do one. And it should look something like this. This is the prototype. So just keep that in mind. Ben Hill, Ben's Biz bobblehead, minor league ballparks across the country, 2021. It'll be a ho-ho-ho home run.
Hi, Baseball Santa. This year for Christmas, I'm hoping for two things. First of all, can we all just, as a baseball community, get over the hypocrisy of caring about the Astros cheating scandal from 2017? I mean, if we really think about it, so many teams have done similar issues with way less punishment. Some would even say it was a part of the sport at one point in time. But regardless, we're not proud of it. They were punished. We're ready to move on, right? That's my main wish. Second wish is I can't wait to get back on the road with Let's Get To, hoping to see a lot of minor league parks this year and really wanting to see some with my family. So that includes the kids, the grandkids, and of course Jim.
Hey Baseball Claus, it's your old pal Tim. You know what I want for this year? I think I want to be able to go to a baseball game. That'd be wonderful. So, happy Merry Christmas. And we'll see you soon.
Hey, it's JD from the Corpus Christi Hooks, and all that I really want for Christmas is the chance to sit and watch a baseball game while enjoying a juicy Whataburger.
Hey everybody, my name's Scott Walker and I'm the general manager for the State College Spikes, and all I want for Christmas from Baseball Santa this year is to be part of a sellout crowd on opening night in 2021 as part of our very first game in the brand new Major League Baseball Draft League.
For my Phillies Christmas, I would like one single human being out of the bullpen who could actually throw a strike and get a batter out. So maybe if we have a 7-run lead against the Toronto Blue Jays, we might conceivably hold on to that and win that game and not miss the playoffs by one game. Maybe a second bullpen arm. Maybe, okay, am I being greedy? Do I want a second person out of the bullpen who can throw a pitch and get a guy out? Okay. Also, I would love some new helmets. for their helmet Sundays out of the Phillies. Could we get one with maybe a blue beak on it? Could we get a powder blue retro Phillies helmet? That would be amazing. And also sign JT Realmuto. Can we please sign JT Realmuto? We have the guy. We wasted 2 years of his career. We traded Sixto Sanchez to the Marlins. Just sign JT. Sign JT. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Baseball Santa. This year for Christmas, I want fans to be back in the park for the 2021 season and a big fuzzy Astros blanket.
Hey, it's Michael Schwab, and I'm filming this on November 1st, the 3rd anniversary of the Astros World Series win. That's right, no asterisk, people. What I want for Christmas is to see a 2021 Astros World Series. Yeah, baby.
Hi, Baseball Santa. It's me, Hardy, the hat guy, the fan from Baseball Across Indiana. And I have just one list of things I want this year. Let's see here. Indians, Tin Caps, South Bend Cubs, Railcats, Oilmen, Aviators, Jazz, Rex, Otters, Bombers. Okay, item number 1. I just want baseball back. Please. And maybe a couple hats.
Hi, I'm Andy, the resident Astros fan from Go Astros, and all I want for Christmas is a new elbow and forearm for Justin Verlander, and I'd like it installed by February. Hi, I'm Andy from Go Astros, and all I want for Christmas is a hockey team in Houston, Texas, and I want for their branding to be absolutely 100% as cool as this.
My wish for Baseball Santa is for the city of San Antonio to build a proper AAA stadium for the San Antonio Missions to keep the great tradition of minor league baseball here in the city of San Antonio alive and well into the future.
Hi, Andrew Nelson here, resident Minnesota Twins fan and amateur baseball historian for Let's Get To. And my wish list for Baseball Santa is, first, I would like a full baseball season, especially a minor league season that can be played safely and we can have at least partial fan attendance at. And then second, I would ask for a healthy Josh Donaldson and Byron Buxton.
Hey, I'm Jess, and all I want for Christmas, because I'm a Giants fan, is for Barry Bonds, Major League Baseball's home run king, to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And, because I like being on Let's Get To, let's put Roger Clemens in there as well.
Hey, I guess this is the new way for 66-year-old guys to send letters to Santa. But in 2020, I'm only going to send my request to one place, and that's James Christopher Kringle. I'm hoping that if we're going to get stuck with this one baseball where Manfred runs everything, at least as a balance, we could have one players union that would include minor league players and major league players. Let them work it out. Let them spread out the joy all across the system. And maybe you could pay a living wage to those who are living their dream. Thanks a lot. Have a great Christmas.
Happy holidays. This is Melba, Corpus Christi Hooks host mom. And all I want from Baseball Santa this year is for there to be a full 2021 baseball season with a stadium full of rowdy fans. Merry Christmas.
Hey guys, my name is Rob Fontenot, the host of Astros Baseball and the co-host of Sunday Stros podcast. My team is the Houston Astros, obviously, you can tell. And if I could ask Santa Claus for one thing, it would be for the Astros to re-sign George Springer. He's the heart and soul of the team. And if you think about it, I'm just asking for something that we already have. And if you want to throw Michael Brantley in the deal also, I'll take it. Thanks a lot.
I'm Emily from Mansplain Baseball Elsewhere, and I'm a huge Braves fan. And all I want for Christmas is Marcell Ozuna locked in for 3 more years, maybe 4.
Hi, Merry Christmas. I'm Scott from Before the Pitch, and I'm a Yankees fan. And what I would like for Christmas is just a short list. It only takes 2 seconds. A 20th World Championship. And last but certainly not least, a new backyard baseball video game. They haven't made one since 2003, and I would love to play a new one with current players, maybe even some deceased players, and with all this beautiful technology and graphics that we have today.
Hey Baseball Santa, all I want for Christmas this year is regular baseball season and to go to a couple Astros games.
Hi, I'm Daniel, UT Austin, Texas Student Television Sports Director, and all I want for Christmas is the Dodgers being punished for Justin Turner getting COVID and taking his mask off in the ceremony.
Hi, I'm George from London, aka Astros Fans UK.
All I want for Christmas is a 2021 baseball season with 162 games and no rule change gimmicks. Too much to ask?
Hi, I'm Stu, fan of the Oakland Athletics. All I want for Christmas is an owner that gives a damn and will spend some money to keep players in town. But I'm also a pretty big fan of Vacaville High School baseball, the Vacaville Bulldogs. And the number one thing I want for Christmas is a high school baseball season in California.
This year from Christmas, as the minor league rando, I ask Baseball's Santa, please, as a Braves fan, why can't we just win one championship? It's just been a couple years. It's time, please. Please, let the pain end. Let the pain end.
Hey y'all, I'm Billy from Before the Pitch, and all I want for Christmas is for Uncle Stevie to bring home one of the big free agents on the market to the New York Mets. Let's go Mets.
I'm Emily, and I'm a Yankees fan, and all I want for Christmas is number 28.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a huge Dodgers fan, and all I want for Christmas this year is for the Dodgers to re-sign Justin Turner and extend Corey Seager.
Hi, Baseball Claus. Thank you so much for reaching out to me to find out what I want this year. I wish I could be there in person to sit on your lap and whisper what I want in your ear, but I'm so happy to be able to share it this way. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that wishes this, but I want this stupid pandemic to be over so that I can go to the ballpark and sit close to all the other fans and watch the game. I don't care what ballpark at this point, but I'd love to see my Rangers in their new facility, of course. But the main thing, and please, oh please, Baseball Claus, for the love of all that is good, please bring pitching to the Texas Rangers this year. I beg of you. Thank you, Baseball Claus.
Hey, Trevor Rogers here, big Red Sox fan, and all I want for Christmas is to alleviate the pain of not having Mookie Betts anymore.
My name is Mike, and I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, and all I want for Christmas is at least one off-season acquisition that indicates they're at least going to start to try to compete. If it happens to be George Springer, then I'll be extra happy.
Hey, my name is Mike. I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. And all I want for Christmas is to actually be able to go to the Sky Dome next year and watch a game.
Hi, my name is Gary, and all I want for Christmas is for the Cardinals to sign Yadi Molina to a lifetime contract.
Hi, this is Tyler with the Sugar Land Skeeters, and all I want from Baseball Santa this year is a Christmas tree in shallow center field and Christmas lights on my foul poles.
Mr. Baseball Claus, Merry Christmas, and I want a new scooter, sir, please. And Merry Christmas.
Well, Santa Claus, thank you so much for being with us today.
Truly my pleasure, Jim. Thank you again for having me. But say, what can I get you for Christmas?
You know, I thought about this, and from the bottom of my heart, I really just want baseball to go back to what it can be. This thing that unites us, not this thing that we bicker over on social media. This thing that allows us to sit in a ballpark on a nice day and eat a hot dog and drink a beer and talk to a complete stranger about this really great game. I just want to go back to that if we can.
I hope so too.
I do have one more present, Santa, that I want to ask for on behalf of all Astros fans. I finally want Forrest Whitley to break into the MLB, make the rotation, win Rookie of the Year, and the Cy Young.
I deliver toys, not miracles.
I was afraid you'd say that. Well, again, we want to thank Santa for being here. Thank you, Santa, for coming to town.
I would have thought he was better than that. Guess now's a good time as any to tell him that it was me kissing his mom.
What? Mom?
And now, Baseball-AKUH with Jess Knaster.
All right, so we are still on the Let's Get To Holiday special. So when we mean holiday, we don't mean Christmas. And I am a big fan of my new Hanukkah sweater. I know that Jess is a practice, do you say practice? I guess observer of Hanukkah. And so I was excited to kind of get in the spirit, man. What do you think?
It's a good look. I don't think I could quite pull off the cardigan. I went just for the classic ugly sweater.
I love it. I can't wait. I'm actually wearing this. We usually do night one of Hanukkah with our friends, and I'm going to just
It's going to roll up, and I'm sure I'll get mercilessly mocked by David, but he can deal with it.
I mean, just tell him he's allowed to make fun of you as long as, and I apologize for the sort of Jewish insider joke here, as long as he beats you at dreidel, then he can talk all the trash he wants. But if you beat him, then he's got to keep quiet.
I can beat him. It's his daughter I can't beat. She's really good.
Well, you know that random spinning top. That's
Baby JoJo's not someone to be messed with on the dreidel. So you had an idea of how you wanted to observe this, and I thought it was great. You came up with your lineup, your roster of the best Jewish ball players in MLB history.
Yeah, it's I think it all identifying by religion doesn't necessarily matter a whole lot. I think baseball is unique because of its international flair in terms of players who made this game great in the middle part of the 20th century, before and after World War II especially, and how many European, either first-generation Americans or guys who were born in Europe came over to play baseball. And that's kind of unique among the 5 major sports in the United States, at least the 5 major leagues in the United States, because basketball has only recently gotten as big as it has. Hockey hasn't been as widespread. American football, obviously, we're going to play it more than anybody else. Baseball has some international taste to it. And then soccer has always been big, but in certain parts of the world more so than others. And so baseball is kind of unique in the Jewish aspect of it, because there are so many guys who especially immigrated with their families to New York or to Chicago or to Wisconsin. And that's where baseball was king in the 40s and 50s, and where it still is in a lot of parts of the United States. And so that was the game that the kids played, didn't matter the religion. And then, of course, the airplane aspect of it, where, give me some light reading. Here's a pamphlet on Jews and sports. And so Jews, we laugh at it, but at the same, Jews wrote that joke, but Jews, we laugh at it. And so,
any episode with a good airplane reference is already so high on my list. This is already my favorite thing. But you know what else too lends itself? Baseball, though. Baseball, I think, is the one sport where there's really a spot for every kind of athlete.
There is. Football, you have that a little bit, because the big, strong guys go in the front on either side. The more agile guys are in the backfield. And then your smartest guy is the guy who throws the thing. Soccer, you're all going to be athletic.
Yep. Basketball, you got to be tall.
Basketball, you got to be tall, and if you're short, tall, you handle the ball. If you're tall, you block the ball. Obviously, dumbing it down ever so slightly.
It's a baseball show. What do people expect?
And hockey, around the same as soccer. Everybody's going to be athletic, and the bigger guys are going to be defensive. The smaller guys are going to be offensive, and the guys who can bend themselves into pretzels are going to be the goaltenders. But yeah, baseball, you need some of everything. You need the agile guys to be up the middle. You need the big boppers in the corner spots, outfield and infield.
Yeah.
And then you need a guy of any shape or size, as long as he's got a rubber arm, put him on the mound.
So let's talk about what is our all Hebrew, our all Jewish baseball team look like. And I'm hoping that there's a certain guy from Arizona that made your squad.
Arizona. We'll have to find out. So we'll start with batting order, even though that's probably the weakest spot. And as much as I love baseball and have grown up with the game, figuring out this batting order, boy, has it dawned upon me that I am not a future manager.
Okay.
But it also helps that these guys are the best at their positions. So obviously we just mentioned it, making the best lineup. That's not necessarily finding the best guy at each position. It's finding the guy who works best in a certain role in the lineup, because sometimes you'll sacrifice defense for a guy who's fast, or vice versa. If you have an order that has a lot of hitters, this is an order that has a lot of hitters. Every one of these guys in their day, current or past, was really able to whack the snot out of things. So Starting with
coming to you, a new segment on Let's Get to whacking the snot out of the thing. It's a family show, Jess. Okay, let's go. Leading off,
a shortstop. Old Shufflefoot was his nickname. Played from 1938 to 1952. Lou Boudreau, one of 3 Hall of Famers in this lineup. Batting second and playing second base, Ian Kinsler, a more recent player.
Okay.
Batting third, playing right field, Ryan Braun.
Okay.
One of just 2 current players on this roster. And, Braun and the other guy who I'll mention a little bit later, guys who still have some career ahead of them. And then the middle portion of the lineup, these are all guys from that World War II era that I mentioned, that really was the heyday for Jewish baseball players, including Boudreau. Batting fourth and playing left field, Hank Greenberg.
Yes.
Hank Greenberg, probably the best known hitter of the bunch. He won 2 MVPs, was a 5-time All-Star, came within a fraction of a batting percentage point of winning the Triple Crown in the 1930s, was a huge home run hitter, and was the first guy to sit out a game to Yom Kippur, which is often accredited to Sandy Koufax, who did. Granted, Sandy Koufax did it in Game 1 of the '65 World Series, but Greenberg did it a couple times down the stretch. He was supposed to play in a game. He was supposed to play in a game in the World Series in Game 6 of the 1935 World Series, but didn't because he had he didn't play because he had a broken wrist, but he suited up.
Okay.
So Greenberg fourth, batting fifth, Al Rosen, another hard-hitting corner infielder. Greenberg also played first base. So Rosen at third base, batting fifth, hitting sixth. Harry Danning, Harry the Horse, was a catcher for the for the Giants in the 1930s and 40s. Batting seventh, playing center field. Yes, out of position, but had to find the spot for him. Sean Green.
Okay.
Playing center. Green, I think, gets overlooked at how good of a player he was, just because it's a recency bias sort of thing.
Yeah, that happens.
And then a batting eighth guy that a lot of people wouldn't recognize to be on this list because he had a completely misnomer of a nickname, the Greek god of walks. Not Greek at all, very Jewish.
Very Jewish.
Kevin Youkilis.
Okay.
Youkilis. Oh, I guess I made a typo. I don't have him at catcher. He's my first baseman.
Okay.
Youkilis at first, and batting ninth, and the most famous Jewish person to be in my car, Alex Bregman as the DH.
I brought props. There he is, baby. The most famous person to be in Jess's car. Okay, so let's go about. Okay, so that's our lineup. Who's
and of course, there's only one choice: the left arm of God, Sandy Koufax.
Left arm of God. I love this segment, and I remember you jokingly said, but I can't come up with a bench, which is fine. But how much does it matter to you to see your faith in your culture reflected in baseball? We talk about this all the time in cinema with like women and people of color. Like, how much does it matter to you?
Well, I think it is just like that, and we're seeing it. We saw it in I hate to relate back to politics, but we saw it in 2016 with Hillary Clinton being the first woman to accept a major presidential nomination from one of the 2 major parties. Kamala Harris this year. That it's just the idea, and then with countless people of various ethnicities who have held political office or done anything else, it's seeing somebody who looks like you, or who sounds like you, or who does something like you. And obviously, when you're not the majority in that given demographic, that's something that matters. Because if all you're looking for is somebody who's really good at baseball and is male, okay, easy. Somebody who's good at baseball and is the same skin color as me, okay, easy. Somebody who's and on down the list. But going back to the Jews in sports pamphlet, if you don't have a ton to look at, you really grasp
onto whatever you can and celebrate it, because it's an opportunity to say either one, yeah, he's one of ours, or she's one of ours. We're proud of it. Or, they can do that. Maybe I can too. And I think that means a little bit more when it's kids or adults who see that person as an inspiration, because then they might be the next generation's inspiration, and so on and so on.
One of the things I was so excited, like, again, when we came up to doing this, I was just stoked for it. And on my other show, Screen Jocks, we were talking about the show Psych. And in the show Psych, James Roday had famously changed his last name from Rodriguez to Roday because he couldn't get a job because he didn't look Mexican enough, and this whole thing. We've seen in the last 4 years with Trump, the rise of anti-Semitism has been given a voice again. How important, like guys like Bregman that are still playing, how important are they to kind of, through example, maybe stem some of that tide, or do they have a role in that at all?
I mean, I think in some ways, when researching this, especially the likes of Danning and Greenberg and Rosen, who all played right around World War II, and especially Hank Greenberg, who served in World War II and missed 3 years in the peak of his career when he was just mashing the ball left and right, that, these are just regular guys. They have this difference, but is it really a difference? And, reflecting that on today, I don't know that that's paid as much attention to in the general world of, I thought this fill in the blank. I thought Jews were not good at sports, but here's a guy who was the All-Star Game MVP in 2018. He finished second in AL MVP voting in 2019 and is still set to have a really good career in baseball. He's Jewish. I guess I'll think twice. I think that kind of gets ignored in the general public's eye, especially among those who are going to have preconceived notions of certain ethnicities or certain whatever demographics. But I do think more so than ever, it strengthens the pride, the amount of pride that person's community will have in whatever demographic they are. Jews, obviously part of that.
Well, Jess, this has been one of my favorite segments we've done on the show, period. Was tickled that we had the idea. Thank you so much for delivering. This was great. And have a happy Hanukkah. First night of Hanukkah is tonight, so have a happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Happy Hanukkah. Fill up on the latkes. And when you look down this list, 3 Hall of Famers, multiple MVPs, multiple Cy Youngs. There may not be a lot of us, but spread over time, we can put together a pretty good 9 or 10, I guess.
And now, welcome to the Baseball Festivus for the Rest of Us, starring James Christopher, Andy Tom Chesson, and Scott McIntyre. And for those of you worried at home, yes, they realize they are all too old and fat to be attempting any feats of strength.
And welcome to Screen Jocks' Baseball Festivus for the Rest of Us. We've got Scott McIntyre and Andy Tom Chesson. And as I said in the introduction of the show, or the introduction of this segment, we will not be doing any airing of grievances because I don't think any of us could survive an actual airing of grievances because we are...
I had heard you were too fragile to have that conversation.
And we're off. I do want to also start, though, and just thank you guys for another year of the show. I know that you've already signed on for year 3, season 3, and Jessica and I have made a gift for you. We got a gift for you guys. We have made a donation in your name to the Human Fund. I hope that you are excited.
Can I get a receipt on that?
Whatever. No, look, we're going to do some fun. So we decided, first of all, how are you guys doing the holiday season? We are wrapping down the end of the year. Andy, how are you guys over there?
I am patiently counting a couple of different things. Today is the 7th, so 24 more days of this damned year. And then I think 43 days until we have a new president, which, good countdowns all around.
Good countdown all around. Scott, how are you, man?
I love lamp.
Yeah.
Sorry. Still thinking back for a moment. No, good. I am kind of with Andy. Hey, we've only got 24 more days of 2020. But in 2018, we couldn't wait for 2019. In 2019, we couldn't wait for 2020. I'm honestly pretty freaking petrified of 2021 right now. I'm just going to take it easy. I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm just going to let's just get through it all. Let's all just hold hands and sing some Kumbaya, and we will make it through together.
I think we're all smart enough to know that the year doesn't change when it rolls over, but I do think the new president and hopefully a new way of looking at things and a vaccine coming. But, we are going to participate in one of the greatest celebrations of Festivus. And if you all look to your left and right, you will see a Festivus poll when you're watching the actual episode. That's right. I edited that stuff in. I'm saucy today. But we're going to start with our airing of grievances. We have come up with people in baseball that we think we got a lot of problems with. To quote Mr. Costanza, I got a lot of problems with you people. And Andy, who is your first airing of grievances directed at?
Well, as I don't really follow rules, it's not a person. I mean, everything eventually falls to Rob Manfred. But my first grievance, advertisements on uniforms. What the hell is this going to be about? I am tired of the idea. It hasn't even happened yet, but I'm tired of the idea that I'm going to see Kellogg's on top of the Detroit Tigers logo on their uniforms going forward in 2021.
Well, they look great.
Probably not.
Is this a thing?
The Players Association has to sign off on it, but yeah, it's going to be a thing.
So we're basically going to be watching the fight in NASCARs.
Eventually. And it was bad enough in Houston for a long time in the Astrodome. We had no advertisements on the walls because it was gauche. This was 70s, 80s. And then Drayton McLean bought the team in the 90s, and all of a sudden it looked like the back page of your local weekly newspaper, and I mean literally back page. And flash forward to 2020, we have Chick-fil-A foul poles in Minute Maid Park. We've got a community leaders where all those community leaders had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to advertise instead of helping the community. But that's neither here nor there.
The post-game interview will sound something like, I just want to thank the Twinkies hostess, Valvoline STP, sponsored pregame show there by the Backpage Escort Service for allowing me to come out and, good Lord willing, win the ball game.
I'm just really excited for that. Was a Verizon Wireless foul ball. Okay. Scott, who's your first grievance directed to?
I have to do this on behalf of Cardinals Nation. My first grievance is with you, Cardinals GM John Mozeliak. Really? You got all this money. You are the third best payroll in baseball. Fourth behind Boston, New York, and LA. And you can't find an outfielder that hits. Oh, wait. We did find one, and we sent him to Tampa Bay. Really? Come on. I am over John Mozeliak's inability to find an outfielder that can hit the ball. You got Dylan Carlson, who's supposed to be the next best thing ever, and Dylan Carlson comes in with this great OPS of like 700. Okay, he may be great, but you've got to get someone in free agency. We get Ozuna. Ozuna goes away. He hits. He hits after he leaves us. He hits before he leaves us. When they come here, they forget how to hit. I don't. Maybe we can just get 9 infielders or something. I don't know, but I'm over it.
Sounds like 5-star recruits under Tom Herman. Okay. Now we're feisty today.
Boy, you guys lit up Kansas State though.
Yeah. As I said in my
After
Facebook
it didn't
post,
matter.
Yeah. That's the worst holiday tradition I've been experiencing, us blowing out teams after it no longer matters.
How about having a team that's lost 3 games on a last second field goal this year? It's not coffee in this mug. I'm just saying.
Okay. It's going to turn into an intervention. You know what, Andy, I think you'll agree with me this. My first grievance is directed at the Tampa Bay defense during the ALCS. The Astros had an expected batting average on many of the outs over 700. Any one of those balls falls in any one of those games, and the Astros play in the World Series. And it was, nothing like how many gappers, how many flips over walls, how many just unreal athletic defense on the Tampa Bay, and I got a lot of problems with it.
And they didn't play that defense against the Dodgers. They saved it all for us. They didn't play it against the Yankees necessarily. They just saved it all for us. It's like our best effort is going to be in the ALCS and screw everything else.
That's right. What is your next grievance?
My next grievance, the only good thing about 2020 is that we skipped Players Weekend, because the alternate uniforms in Players Weekend are the worst things in baseball. And that's saying something in 2020. We went from, in Houston at least, and I think this is pretty much league-wide, to this really weird collection the first year they did the Players Weekend, where Houston somehow got Miami Dolphins colors. I don't know what that was about. The next year it was all orange. And then this final, in 2019, the last year they did this, everybody in baseball did either black or white.
I know.
I took a friend to his first baseball game ever and was trying to explain to him why they would do this. He did not go back to another game the rest of the year.
Why there was semen running around the field? You'd explain that to him.
And everybody had white caps except for Zach Greinke on the Astros, because he needed a black cap. It was just maddening, because why would we understand baseball rules that say you can't hold a white baseball against your white cap in the windup? Because it's bad. Because I can't pick up the ball because it's also white. Orange balls are next, Rob Manfred.
At least the balls won't have advertisement. Scott.
I just got a completely different image of semen running around the baseball field. I'm just sorry. So my next grievance is it's actually being channeled through me. It's not even my own grievance. It is the grievance of the spirit of Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey, who set up the first farm system under the Cardinals organization that actually worked, who created the minor league system in the way that we see it today. Branch Rickey, who's done all of this work, has a grievance with Rob Manfred, because Rob Manfred is dismantling the whole thing in the name of corporate greed. Yeah. Branch Rickey is the guy who organized the integration of baseball. He has the feeder systems coming up through the minor leagues, and I might want to add, has been impeccably played by both Edward Herman and Harrison Ford on separate occasions. So Branch Rickey has a lot to say to Mr. Manfred and the 30 ownership groups. We're giving it to him. We're giving it to him. They did great. Jim. We're giving it to him.
Harrison Ford is awful. He is ostensibly bad as Branch Rickey.
I was going to say, wasn't that Harrison Ford's worst performance ever?
I think he was awful in it.
I'm just telling you guys, the spirit of Branch Rickey, who's speaking through me right now, says it was good, and he was very honored.
Han Solo played him.
He was very honored to have Han Solo play him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for Branch, and if you guys want to take it up with him, then you can set up this channel. But I have it right now, and that's what he's saying. But this is Rob Manfred. What's that, Branch? Yes, sir, Mr. Rickey. It's Rob Manfred and the 30 corporate ownership groups coming through and stealing from the poor to pay the rich. And that is too much of a reflection of what is all wrong with American society. It was all wrong with American society 130 years ago, and we fixed it with trust busting. And it may be time to come through and bust up the trust that is MLB.
Then I'll pivot. I'm going to go in a different order, and I'm going to come off of you. And I'm going to say that I've got a lot of problems with Jim Crane, and I've got problems with Jim Crane. For one, make no mistake about what's happening with the minor leagues. This is his idea. It is referred to amongst the 30 ownership as the Astros plan. I think when you factor that, I think you factor in that he sacrificed his fan base in the name of getting out from under this cheating scandal as quick as he possibly can. His inability to speak to the media in any way, shape, or form. And I think his utter disregard. Look, obviously, I have an issue with Jerry Jones as a Cowboys owner, but I think Jerry Jones is at least a good owner still. I think Jim Crane's probably a good competitive owner, but I think he's a despicable human being. Andy.
And he's probably made. I mean, I'd watch what you say. This is a man who made his millions in logistics.
Oh, yeah. This dude's whacking me off. One or the other.
I mean, he's doing what?
So far, Jim's talked about semen on the field. Coming off of me, and now he's getting whacked off by Houston's ownership.
I'm just saying maybe he's going to use some of the olive oil that he probably imports in his side business.
I'm just I'm sensing a theme. I'm sensing a theme here.
What is your third?
My third, Dusty Baker, and Dusty Baker specifically managing bullpens. The long tradition baseball has with teams like the Cubs, the Reds, the Giants, who have existed for 120 years, 150 years, to the more recent franchises of the Astros and the Washington Nationals. All of us have experienced the Dusty Baker magic when it comes to managing a bullpen. And that means not managing a bullpen by over-managing a bullpen. Nobody has a role, because why would you want a role? Nobody knows what they're going to do. Oh, and if you're a rookie, we're going to throw you as many innings as we possibly can and not set you up for success ever, ever, ever. Because pitching, what's pitching? I don't know. I was a hitter. Let me tell you about what Hank Aaron said about pitching. Don't care. And we get to experience him for a whole nother year, probably 162 games.
Did you just work in a fake? Did you just work
to murder somebody?
Did you just work in a fake Dusty Baker Hank Aaron quote? I love that.
They're all Hank Aaron quotes. Let me tell you, I love that.
They're all Hank Aaron quotes. Like any question.
I went out dancing with Hank Aaron. They played great music in that city, so I'm qualified to be your manager. What is that?
I'm just looking forward to this. Is let's put this in perspective. This is how crazy Dusty Baker has made Andy over a 60-game regular season and 2 playoff series. Let's just see what happens at the end of next year when you have 2.5 much time. Well, almost three times as much time.
We're going to cut to him
Dusty.
with the
sword, just going like.
I broke into my daughter's room, found a pile of wristbands. I set them on fire just on principle. They didn't even have Dusty's face on them, which he still wears, and he's 802.
But now he's not even the oldest manager in baseball, but he is the only older manager in baseball that doesn't fall asleep drunk behind the wheel of his car.
Well, because Hank Aaron told him
Tony La Russa shot Tony La Russa.
Scott, what did you
you get one of the white players to drive you around. That's what you do.
That's a double Tony La Russa being a racist shot. That's weird. This is gold. What a way to end the year. Scott, who is your third?
My final grievance is actually with myself, because I love the universal DH and the expanded playoffs that we had this year, and I shouldn't like them. I'm supposed to be a grumpy old man. I am Caucasian. I am older. I have gray in the beard. I'm not supposed to like new and progressive things, but I do. So I'm really mad at myself, and there's an internal screaming match taking place right now. And it's simply because the universal DH made things fun, and the expanded playoffs brought more teams into the manner. I'm not supposed to like it, but I do. And I'm mad at myself. I'm going to punish myself later.
Honestly, I particularly when they get to 32 teams, which I think will happen sooner than later, I kind of like it too. And I definitely liked the wild card round being 3 games and not being just a one and done. One and done is so against the nature of baseball.
But I think but just so we're not giving Rob Manfred credit for any of that, because if it was him, there would have been worse changes.
Yes.
I like the DH, and I think it just eventually moves universal, and I'm good with that. I like the expanded playoffs. I hate the 7-inning doubleheaders, because baseball is baseball, and it penalizes teams who have good bullpens and bad starters, or vice versa. But there are some changes that were palatable this year that I think you can expand on and make better. I don't want to see 7-inning doubleheaders anymore.
I don't think you will, because that takes away revenue. And whenever they can have as many games as possible, they will, because that will increase tickets for each game. But I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. So
my last
make sure
grievance,
come back to money.
My last grievance, and those of you who watch the whole episode, I know some people just watch segments, and that's great. That's why we set it up this way. You would find out that Mr. Joe Kelly was on Santa's naughty list. And I've got a grievance with Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly, to me, and the heroification of him acting like a 6-year-old, sticking his tongue out, is really, to me, the end result of the Trump era, where we have lost any degree of decorum. We've lost any degree of acting like you've been there before. We are allowed to live minute by minute and be a just be a like nanny boo boo, to be a child. We're all supposed to be adults. I got it, and so I can't look I'm look. People are going to say it's because it happened to our Astros, Andy, but I think you know me well enough to know I'm pretty consistent when I think behavior is. I mean, I think that kind of behavior, and Joe Kelly epitomizes, is actually like detrimental to us as a society. And the worship of that, it's the worst part of us. It takes away any intellectual responsibility or consistency. The fact is he actually helped the Dodgers also lose a World Series through what people would think would be misbegotten means. So the idea of the moral flexibility and all that, fuck Joe Kelly.
Don't stick it. Throw a punch.
Yeah, right. But Andy, I think you had a bonus grievance.
Yeah, and this is not baseball related, but it popped up again on my Facebook feed, so I just want to address this with all of your listeners. Hallelujah is not a Christmas song.
Raiders of the Lost Diamond, a look into baseball's past.
All right, so we're back here on the Christmas edition of Raiders of the Lost Diamond. And Andrew, I believe I have a Christmas. But first of all, seriously, this hat, dude, thank you so much. This is awesome.
No problem. I saw it and I knew I had to get it for you.
And I'm not going to lie.
Just you.
This is the only version of this star I will own.
That was the only thing I was a little bit worried about. I know you're not a huge fan of that era Astros jersey, but I figured you'd make an exception for a Christmas theme.
Exception, man. I see that you have one on as well.
Yep. I got one for myself, a Twins one, and I got an A's one for my wife. So
why doesn't it does seem like I don't understand why more teams haven't really dived or doved into this whole ugly Christmas sweater thing. Like minor league baseball does it. I guess add that to the list of things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like they all do St. Patrick's Day stuff now,
which is weird.
Training.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's like you can kind of barely fit that in. Yeah, and of course they do they do Memorial Day / Armed Forces Appreciation or whatever, and 4th of July stuff. But yeah, you'd think they would, want to make that money.
You would think they would adapt everything minor league baseball does. Like, oh, you'd buy a Star Wars Astros jersey? Yeah. Like, because I saw the Cardinals had one, and it was birds on a lightsaber, and that was badass.
Nice. That is really cool.
And I would wear that.
I've seen a few major league Star Wars things, but they're usually pretty generic. Like it's like a stormtrooper or a Darth Vader, and it's like Twins Empire. And it's like,
yeah.
Is it though? I mean, are we the Empire? I'm pretty sure we're not. And
I do have a cool Astros one where it's the rainbow, but the rainbow is different colored lightsabers.
Nice.
And that one's pretty sweet. And I paid for it and everything. But
yeah.
Now you've got something on.
I do. I have a bet to fulfill. Now, so I got to preface this with a little bit of an explainer because
I
put on some Rona weight and I'm in a weird size area right now.
Brother, there's a reason why I'm doing this in my boxers. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Right on the edge of large and extra large, especially like with jerseys and things that aren't always sized the right way. So it's a little bit tight, but I saw this and I had to have it because it's very retro cool.
All right, let's see.
So it is the original.
It's got the Hooks logo on the side too.
Yeah, it's a Hooks. I think it was for the 50th anniversary.
Dude, that's such a great look. And when we talk about the Astros, like for how, and I got a little blasted about it on the web a couple of weeks ago because I was on an Astros podcast, and the uniforms are boring for the Astros. And they have this legacy of being really cool.
Yeah.
And now they just look like the orange and blue jerseys are fine, but the white ones. Now I know that you came up with a little something special for Raiders today.
Yes.
Because it is our holiday episode.
It is our holiday episode. So, temperatures are getting cooler and people start thinking about northern climes like the North Pole. And so I really wanted to do a story about the North Pole Knicks that I read about in Summer Ball Nation. But it's nearly impossible to find information on Alaskan baseball teams with the resources I have on the internet. So settled for the next best thing, and we're going to talk about a Canadian team today, the Moose Jaw Diamond Dogs.
So awesome.
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan has a spotty baseball history, but they do have a solid history of great baseball team names. From 1909 to 1920, with a break from 1915 to 1918 for World War I, they were the Moose Jaw Robin Hoods in the Western Canada League. That team played one last season as the Millers in 1921 before folding. And then baseball returned in 1951 and stayed until 1958 in the resurrected Western Canada League with the Mallards in Moose Jaw, which not as exciting, but it's a solid baseball name.
It's a solid base, and not one you see a whole lot, really. Yeah.
So baseball would have to wait a little bit longer to return, and in 1995, the Independent Prairie League brought pro ball rocking back to Moose Jaw with the Diamond Dogs. The Diamond Dogs would play in cozy Ross Wells Ballpark, capacity of approximately 750.
Wow.
Against the likes of the Aberdeen Pheasants, the Minneapolis Loons, the Regina Cyclones, the Dakota Rattlers, the Saskatoon Riot, the Minot Rattlers, so 2 Rattlers in one league. And the Brandon Gray Owls. They sported a logo of a bulldog with kind of rock and roll makeup, like a star over one eye, and took the field to the tune of course, David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. Moose Jaw took third place of 8 teams in their first year with a 44-28 record over a 70-game season. The team rode a strong offense featuring 2 players who hit over 400.
Oh, wow.
Mike Brocky, who hit 402, and Brian Cornelius, who hit 403 with 20 home runs. And 5 more players who hit over 300. In their second year, the Diamond Dogs improved to a 50-29 record, but still only reached third place. 1996 was another year of distinctive team names in the Prairie League, with the Grand Forks Varmints, the Saskatoon Smoking Guns.
Saskatoon,
not Smoking Guns, Smokin' Guns.
No G. Ooh.
Yeah, no G. And the Green Bay Sultans joining the league, among a few other names. The Prairie League was pretty unstable. They had different lineups all 3 years that they played. Moose Jaw's strong offense continued in 1996, once again led by Brian Cornelius, and this year Sean Wooten. Wooten had previously played with the team in 95, and he accumulated a .302 batting average with 12 home runs this year, in 96. He would go on to eventually get a couple of cups of coffee in the majors with the Anaheim Angels and the Boston Red Sox in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, hard times came to Moose Jaw baseball in 1997. The Diamond Dogs would plummet to a 16-25 record for third place out of 4 teams in the league's Northern Division.
Wow.
So they were in third place all 3 years, but it was better the first 2.
Yeah.
The Dogs' bats continued to be hot, but their pitching fell to new depths. Besides the on-field struggles, the Diamond Dogs and the league were struggling financially. On July 24th, during a game against the Saskatoon Stallions, the Diamond Dogs staged a short strike. Shortstop Bobby Hawley took to the PA system to say the players wouldn't take the field until the team's former owner, Murray Brace, who had recently sold the team, left the ballpark. The Dogs did eventually play, dropping the game 13-5 to the Stallions. Hawley would be suspended from the league, with League Commissioner Bill Remenda saying, "You can't have ball players taking over PA systems and handling situations like this." The 97 season was the last for the Diamond Dogs in the Prairie League. Small crowds and long road trips made it difficult for these independent teams to make ends meet. Baseball would eventually return to Moose Jaw once again, with another iteration of the Western Canada League. This time it's a collegiate summer wood bat play, And the Miller Express, named for their sponsors Miller Beer and Canadian Pacific Railroad, patrols Roswell's ballpark nowadays.
You know, one of the things that's interesting is a lot of the teams you've looked up aren't just teams that have fallen or gone away, but leagues. How much do you think, when you think about, like the New York Penn League, going to be Collegiate Summer League, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But the Pioneer League becoming an independent team. I mean, I'm sure at the beginning MLB is going to help keep them afloat, but how concerned are you about them being able to stay open?
I'm not terribly optimistic, to be honest. Having been a Northern League fan when I was younger and when it was around, and seeing teams struggle in that league, and then sometimes the struggles in the American Association that followed it, and seeing leagues like the Western Canada League, which, I mean, it's Western Canada is very similar population-wise to, the Mountain West in the U.S. It's sparsely populated. There's not a ton of people there. And the climate isn't terribly conducive to baseball either. So there isn't a huge baseball culture necessarily to rely on. So they have the advantage that those teams have been there for a long time and do have local fan bases. So I'm cautiously optimistic that that'll work out for them, but having to pay players besides having to deal with their travel costs, the teams are spread out a bit. It's going to be a little bit better with Orem moving to northern Colorado rather than being out in Utah. But travel is a big part of the expense for these teams. They got a bus everywhere. They can't afford flights, and I mean that wouldn't be any cheaper anyway. But we'll see. I'm not terribly optimistic, but I really do hope it works out because there's some really great organizations out there in the Pioneer League.
Last question then. You're a big Northwoods League fan. I've also become a very big Northwoods League fan. I think Jess and I are putting the final touches on our first travel plan, but I think Traverse City and Fond du Lac are on our list. With MLB pushing collegiate summer leagues, do you think the Northwoods leagues are going to be affected by the fact that what will be ostensibly a drop in talent, or do you think that they're so well established as their own thing that it will matter?
Yeah. It's really hard to say, and I think a lot of it depends on what MLB's actual intent is. If ties stand for anything, and who knows if they do, the Northwoods League has had limited official ties with MLB already. They do a showcase game every year, which is set up to have MLB scouts at, where they'll have players that the organizations have expressed interest in come out and play. So there is a semi-formal relationship there already. And they have been around since 1993. They've been doing this for a long time as far as collegiate leagues go. They have a good reputation in that there's a lot of star players that have come out of there. They really sell themselves on providing kind of a minor league experience for the collegiate players with all the travel that they do and the competitive league. So as long as MLB isn't trying to muscle out anybody who's not their leagues, I think the Northwoods League will be fine. They just announced today that the Northwoods League had the highest attendance of any baseball leagues this year. And granted, a lot of people couldn't have fans at their games.
Yeah, caveats being what they are, right?
But they outdrew the America Association apparently, and that's pro ball. And they had 6 teams that had 5 teams that had fans at their stadiums. So,
I think. What I'll say for the Northwoods League, and maybe the league that should be worried, is the Prospect League. But it does seem like the Northwoods League, they have some of the best ballparks in collegiate summer league baseball. So maybe they'll be fine. Andrew, I guess this is the season finale. So we will be back for our Hat Day special. Obviously you and I will continue to talk, but officially through the show, have a very happy holidays. And thank you so much for being a part of the show for the second season.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks for having me. It's been a great time, and it's it's made this difficult year a lot more fun and enjoyable than it would have been otherwise. And so happy holidays to you and yours also.
Ladies and gentlemen, please adjust your scorecards. We have a special guest in the lineup.
So we are here. Here's our last on deck segment of 2020. Thank the Lord. We have one of our favorite guests, period. Erik the Peanut Guy is here. Erik, first of all, you got your Gonzaga hat on. How are the Zags doing right now?
Go Zags, #1 in the country. It's so far so good. They've had to adjust for COVID past week or so, but we're still at the top of the rankings, and I'm proud to be a Zag.
It's nice to have someone on the show with a collegiate allegiance that's what's what I'm looking for. Good. We just found out while the Zags are #1, we just found out the Longhorns are no longer pursuing Urban Meyer, so we get to be stuck with Tom Herman for another year.
Ooh, congrats.
Yeah. Super sweet. Nothing like apathy on the part of the football program. Erik, it's funny because we've had you on, I think, twice now at least. 2020's been a bear. And one of the things that I think, like Jessica and I kind of decided, and we talk about it in the closing of the show, because I've already recorded it, because that's how shows work. I think the best way to go, we think that there's going to be a magical turn, right? From December to January, but that isn't how it works. I think the best thing to do is to try to change attitude as we go into 2020, 2021.
I think you're right. There's so many good jokes about 2020 and dumpster fire 2020 Christmas tree ornaments that you can buy on Etsy. All these things. But like you said, the truth is there's not going to be a magic turning of the page when it comes to 2021. Hopefully a vaccine will be quote unquote a magic bullet to some extent, but you're right. I mean, we're all so ready to put this year behind us, but it's not going to be over all of a sudden in a few days. So attitude of gratitude. We got to keep moving forward.
At least we can count on nothing but silence from the White House up until January 20th, right?
Yeah.
That won't be nerve-wracking at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about your year. I think that I can still boil it down. And there are moments, I caught my first foul ball. Like there are moments this year that were awesome. My grandkid, who I know you saw in the video, just disappeared. And we were like, where was he? And he was just sitting in this room looking at everything. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. What were some moments of your year that you're like, you know what? Things are going to be okay.
Man, that's so cool. I can't wait to have a kid or a grandkid so that other people can enjoy my hat collection.
Yeah.
Feels a little self-serving that I just have a wall of hats to myself. Wow. To be honest, and I'm not just saying this to blow smoke, but meeting you and being on this podcast has been a highlight of my year. I have been digesting as much information about minor league baseball that I can get from any place. Every day I Google the newest news stories with certain search terms. I listen to every podcast I can about minor league baseball or with interviews from minor league baseball personalities that might have some more information that I don't have. So I've been digesting all this stuff, but you also bring heart to it and joy and hope. So I think that's been a big piece. The Tri-City Dust Devils are a great organization. If I had a Dust Devils Santa hat, I'd be wearing that one right now. So maybe next year we'll get on that.
If they had one, I'd have one too, but I'd also be wearing it.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. There's two right there.
There's two. They just sold 2 hats.
Yeah, we would make the money back like that.
Like that.
Even though we weren't able to do much this year because of state and county regulations and of course the season being canceled, the way that we've engaged our fans has been a highlight, and to see our community reach out to us on social media. The fact that they honored me with the life-size bobblehead statue is still, I can't believe that's true. And I feel like that did a big thing for me this year. So when I think of highlights, I think of baseball, to be honest.
I wanted to ask you about that. We're recording this, full disclosure, on December 7th. We're dropping it because it's a holiday special on the first day of Hanukkah on December 10th. But there's lots that's going to happen, and you're a big part of the Dust Devils, and you still don't really have answers yet. What are you going through? Like, what are you feeling about all of this? Because it's so tragically unfair. It's make a decision, rip the Band-Aid off, and tell people.
Yeah. I was talking with my girlfriend the other day, and I am really struggling, to be honest. I have lost a few nights of sleep due to anxiety. I'm trying to do my best not to text my friends who work in the front office daily to know if they have anything coming up. I've been able to find hope in a few areas. Number one, I'm friends with some of the teams in the Pioneer League, and to see that they kind of have a path forward, and it's a pretty cool looking path.
I think so too. Yeah.
That's all said and done. Yeah. So I'm happy for them. I can only hope that other teams who might lose affiliation will also have a hopeful path like that. There are a lot of reasons why the Tri-City Dust Devils make sense to keep an affiliation. Off the top of my head, weather, geography, facilities, relationships. If you look at a map of the Northwest League, we are smack dab in the middle of it, with an improving facility in one of the only ballparks in the Northwest that you can play a longer season because of our weather. So hopefully that spells something good. We'll find out in a few days. But no matter what happens, I'll go back to those interactions with our front office and with our fans and our community. We're resilient. Minor league baseball people are resilient in general. Tri-Cities people are resilient. And so there's reasons to hope, for sure.
Yeah. And I think one of the things and it's something I've reiterated a bunch of times, but I'm actually doing a full purchasing boycott on Major League Baseball next year. I had already bought a certain amount of like a season ticket package to the Astros. I'm just doing those games. I can't get that money back, but no new gear, no new things.
Yeah.
Because I watch all of these minor league teams do what you're saying, which is work to uplift community, be there while they themselves, it's so selfless because they could easily have turned it off and not really cared until they have the answer. And it really speaks to what I think is good about the game.
Yeah, you're right. There's something, I've heard it best said this year when people say minor league teams, and by that I mean affiliated, college wood bat, independent, whatever. Hometown baseball teams are the heart of baseball, or the soul of baseball, and in some ways the heart of our country.
Yeah.
When you think of traveling different leagues, when you think of seeing who all comes out to a minor league game, it's literally every demographic in a community: age, gender, racial background, sexual orientation, socioeconomic, whatever. Everyone wants to go cheer on their home team. And yeah, it's tough to think of that suffering. A lot of people have suffered this year. But like I said, I keep going back to, man, I don't know, 3-5 years from now, hopefully we can look back and see these communities surviving and these teams surviving. And it's because of people like you and the rest of these people. So stick with it.
Well, I think you'll see them surviving. I think you'll see them thriving. I know that you're on this episode. It is very important for you personally to watch the final segment of this episode. And my wife's in it, so that's the best reason. He is Erik the Peanut Guy. Erik, you know what, man? You said a lot of nice things about me. I'll say a lot of nice things about you. I have felt immediately simpatico with you, even through this distance, and you've really done a lot to keep my chin up through this year. So thank you for that.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. I agree. I can't wait to meet you in person. I feel like we're already good friends, and I've met some other new friends just through your podcast and your show. Yeah, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. It's not going to be a magic turn of the page, but there is a light on the horizon. That's what this season is about in a bunch of different traditions. It's a dark winter, but light is coming. Yeah, everyone come check out a Dust Devils game and then support your other hometown teams.
Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
So we are excited to bring all of Baseball Nation a gift in the form of our very last Who's on First segment of 2020. We are excited to welcome Sam Katz to the show. Sam, tell us a little bit about your little venture, what it's called, and what we're giving the baseball universe as a Christmas gift this year.
Well, it's called the Ottawa Titans, and we're one of the new franchises in the Frontier League, and we'll be playing out of a beautiful facility in Ottawa, and we believe the fans are really going to enjoy the Frontier League, who now is a partner league with Major League Baseball. So things have changed drastically in the last year.
Yeah, let me ask you that then. How long did it go from, hey, I want to have a franchise, to I have a franchise, to all of a sudden, I mean, you're right, the Frontier League, that's a step up. They are going to be now associated with Major League Baseball. How was all of that for you?
Well, I've had a baseball franchise in the American Association for almost the last 30 years.
Okay.
And with this Winnipeg Gold Eyes. And I was asked to take a look at Ottawa a couple of years ago. And I was kind of on the fringe. And then finally I said, you know what? This makes total sense. Ottawa should be a great market. And let's see if we can do something there. It took about a year from starting to make it happen to actually crossing the finish line. And we're there now. We were able to work with the city of Ottawa and the mayor's office and council, and we got a deal done on the lease. We've hired our field manager. We're signing players. We'll start selling tickets in January. So, there's a lot of work to be done to set up a baseball franchise, just like any business. So we're now on our way, and now the heavy lifting starts.
It's funny. I have a friend of mine who's a very passionate Vancouver Canadians fan. And I posted about you guys, like I said, we're very excited when we saw it. And she was like, well, the logo's better. So there you go. Already people are begrudgingly admitting that the logo's better. But no, it's a great look. How has been the response by people on the look of the team?
James, I'm happy to tell you, it's been extremely positive. People seem to love it. And as you can appreciate, that is a gut-wrenching process, to come up with the name. So we had a name the team contest. And, Titans kept on coming up over and over and over again. And when you search the name, it talked about, gigantic power and excellence, et cetera. So I said, wait a minute, this makes a lot of sense. Then, of course, you've got to figure out the logo. You've got to make sure you can get it registered and copyright, et cetera, et cetera. But we released it last week and the public seems to love it. So that took a big load off our shoulders, to say the least.
Yeah, I know it's, having followed even just rebrands of other teams, it's got to be a nerve-wracking day the day before. Some have been great. Rocket City Trash Pandas, everyone loved it. Emerald Little Sod Poodles, it took them a minute. So, yeah, you got to imagine. What can fans expect when we get out to the ballpark just from an experience at being an Ottawa Titans game?
Well, what we believe in is quality and affordable family entertainment. So that's where we start off. We put a product on the field that their main goal is to win, make the playoffs, and God willing, win a championship. But as you know, only one team can win. Yes. So it's a tough, but there's going to be lots of giveaways, lots of entertainment between innings, and lots of fun. And most importantly, when you leave there, you look in your wallet, you'll see, God, I still have lots of money left. So that's really what it's all about. Because, professional sports in some categories has gotten extremely expensive.
Yeah.
Something that you can't take a family to on a regular basis. This is something we wanted to make sure it could be done. And that's our MO, to be very frank with you.
One of the things I'd like you to speak at just generally, why should people give indie ball a chance? It seems to me I have to introduce it to people a lot. And then when they go, they love it. And it's like, I think they think they're seeing just a much lower quality of baseball. And I just don't think that's true. So why should people check out the American Association or the Frontier League?
To start off with, indie ball is basically fading. Okay. With contraction in Major League Baseball and with this partnership, all the leagues are very similar. The only difference is if you have an affiliation, someone else is paying a lot of your expenses.
Right.
With the partnership, and when they pay your expenses, they also call the shots. in our situation, we pay for our players, we pay for our manager and our coach, etc. And we decide who starts, we decide who plays. We don't have to worry about some guy who was signed, paid a lot of money, and even though he's not the best, they made a major investment in it. So that is one of the key things. Like I say, we're going out there to win every game. And more importantly, I'll tell you the story. Years ago, I had a guy walk onto one of our camps, and he was a pitcher. And my manager looked at him, and we all looked and said, is this a joke? Someone's playing on us? This kid could throw. We signed him. In a few years, he was playing with the Texas Rangers. He called me up and said, Sam, I'm playing in the All-Star game in Boston. I'd love for you and your family to come. And I came, and that to me is what it's all about. Seeing these guys get a chance to make a 40-man roster, get called up to AA or AAA. And I can tell you there's been hundreds that's happened to. So here's the reality. The position players, you couldn't even tell the difference. Okay?
Yeah.
Pitching in a, in a championship game and tied 2-2 with the bases loaded 2 away. Yeah, the pitcher, a lot of it's mental. But other than that, very similar.
Completely agree. So if you look behind me, you can see that there's stuff. When can we start getting Ottawa Titans stuff? When am I going to get to have the eye roll from the wife when another package shows up and there it goes? When can we start getting stuff?
James, it's ironic, but first of all, we need to get the name and the logo, which we now have. And I was just talking to our people in merchandise, and we're just starting to make some orders. So it'll be available in the new year. We have lots to do, but it will be available to New Year. And hopefully the next time you and I speak, we'll see something on the wall. Unless it's like next week, that it might not be ready. But in the new year, we'll definitely have something on the wall.
I guess then, as we wrap up, where can people find everything they need to know? I mean, Twitter, website, all that fun stuff. Where do you think is the best place for them to go to get
you can go to www.ottawatitans.com and you'll find everything. And tickets, et cetera, go on sale starting in January as well.
All right, perfect. Get your National Hat Day. Hopefully you'll have a hat out by National Hat Day down here in the States anyway. He is Sam Katz. He is the man behind the Ottawa Titans. And again, for a year of 2020 where we've seen contraction happen and we've seen friends lose jobs, this was just a little bit of good news. So thanks for giving that to us and all the fans of our show.
Classics with the Canuck. Old school cinema with Mike Donis.
So I want to introduce to you a new segment that's going to periodically be part of Let's Get To. And that is a segment called Classics with the Canuck. And I'll explain. So I think most of you by now know that my business is independent film. I'm a retired independent filmmaker. I've made 15 independent feature films. And now my focus is really on growing my independent film festivals that I run. The Austin Revolution Film Festival, which is one of the top reviewed film festivals in the world. The San Angelo Revolution Film Festival and the Austin Student Film Festival, and then others that are coming. And one of the ways that we promote our filmmakers is through the show Screen Jocks. And one of our segments on Screen Jocks is Classics with the Canuck, where my best friend and I just kind of hang out and talk about movies. And one of the things we did for the show that I'm going to include in this show is our discussions of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And I felt like because this was our holiday special, and I make fun of the Star Wars Holiday Special in the opening, and frankly, it turns out it was the first time that Mike had seen it. I thought there's no way I couldn't share our discussion of the Star Wars Holiday Special with you.
We had a fun experiment as we jump into the Christmas season on Classics with the Canuck, is that there is a classic, and for those on the podcast, I am definitely doing air quotes now. Mike, you finally watched the original Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah, I did. I saw it, and I'm okay.
You're good?
Okay.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, it is ostensibly bad, but answer the question as someone, because look, here's the thing about you. I don't know that you've ever said there's a Star Wars thing you don't find a way to like or reason to like. Like, you even make arguments that the prequels aren't as bad guy, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, But
I do argue that, yeah.
Is it as bad as people say? I mean, I've seen it, obviously. In your opinion, as bad as people say?
It's actually, and I'm going to speak genuinely seriously from here on in about it. It actually is worse than people say for me. And I'm not trying to be funny. I know it's hard to say this because it's the kind of thing where everyone says the Star Wars holiday special is the worst thing ever. You know, George Lucas disowned it. Harrison Ford hates it, you know. I was expecting it to be campy, and I was expecting it to be maybe marginally disrespectful to the kind of gravitas that the Star Wars franchise has. But it's as if you gave loads of illegal drugs to a bunch of hippies and also gave them the rights to Star Wars and the characters, and Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher were contractually obligated to do another Star Wars movie.
Or there were family
gave them 24 hours in a low budget and said, here you go make something. I don't know. So first of all, I didn't know it was going to be 97 minutes. I thought it was like a 30-minute special. So I press play on the thing because it's available on YouTube right now. You press play, and all of a sudden I look at the runtime when I'm about 5 or 10 minutes in, and I've been watching Chewbacca's family converse with each other in Wookiee, and there's no subtitles. I can't even see what's going on, and it's going on for 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm looking at the runtime, and I'm like, okay, how much longer is this going to be? And there was another hour and 20 something minutes left. And I was astounded, and I thought it might be a mistake. And then I looked it up, and no, this is it. And it just goes on and on and on. And there's cameos that are interesting. B. Arthur's in it. You know, they've been, but like, it's half of it, first of all, is the characters just watching TV. And then the segments that they actually show, be they musical numbers or psychedelic, weird video edits, you know, with funky colors and weird dancing aliens and stuff. That's just what the characters are watching. There's a segment where a local shop owner comes to visit Chewbacca's family, brings them gifts, and Chewbacca's father watches what can only be described as virtual reality pornography, and he's just watching it, and it's like Star Wars adult videos in front of his family. It's just so strange. It's strange. It's
I also
weird.
really love the fact that the budget on the Wookiee suit went way down, but Chewbacca's the actual suit.
Well, yeah, and so that's the funny thing too. There's a scene, and you see all of them hanging out, and they look to a photo of Chewbacca because, you know, they still have framed photos in Star Wars galaxy, and it pans over to this photo of Chewbacca, and he's like super handsome now. All of a sudden, it's like I don't know how he was related to the people that ended up being. It's weird. It's weird. It's just very strange. It's also just weird to see the actors playing the characters that I love so dearly.
And playing them earnestly.
I mean, this is before Empire Strikes Back even came out. Like they are the.
And
Sorry,
I think that might be why they did it though, because I almost wonder, it's like, man, we don't know if we're gonna have another job.
Right.
You know, but that, and I will say this, particularly with Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, they do play them earnestly. Like they do. They are trying to polish the shit out of that turd.
The thing is that any actor can only ever be so good. And when you're dealing with the material that they were dealing with, there was really no way to do it. Yes, they were being earnest, and in particular, I think the character that was, I mean, Luke Skywalker looked a little different. They put a lot of makeup on him for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure why. I'd heard that it may have had something to do with a car accident that he had gotten into, and they were covering up.
Why they wrote the scene in Empire to give him.
And so he looked, it looked like he had eyeliner on and had a very plasticky sort of a sheen to his face. So he just looked kind of interesting and weird. And Carrie Fisher looked a little spacey at times, like, you know, it looked like she might have, yeah. And so she was definitely not the Princess Leia that I was used to. Harrison Ford as Han Solo, because there were scenes in the Millennium Falcon with Harrison Ford and Chewbacca, and as much as it wasn't filmed with the, you know, cinematography quality of Star Wars, it was still Han Solo and Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon having a conversation.
Yeah.
Having a conversation I'd never heard them have before. And there were glimpses. You asked me originally whether there was anything that I could find to like about it. There were brief moments that felt like, okay, that's Han Solo and Chewbacca. That was a positive. The Boba Fett cartoon's kind of cool. I almost forgot about the Boba Fett cartoon. The Boba Fett cartoon was cool. You know what? It wasn't kind of cool. It was cool. It was
the best Boba Fett stuff, period. Outside of his cameo.
In fact, I totally get it now. Never having seen it, I always wondered at the time why everybody was so big on the character of Boba Fett, because I was always of the opinion that he wasn't really so much a character so much as a plot device. You know, in films at least, he was the bounty hunter that went to get Han Solo. But seeing this and imagining, okay, imagine I watched this, and now 2 years later I see Boba Fett show up in a Star Wars movie in live action. I can imagine putting into that character stuff that I'd already seen him do.
And it's honestly stuff that is happening with Mandalorian. All these characters from Clone Wars and Rebels are showing up, and we're going in with bought-in stuff. I want to pivot for about 60 seconds.
Yes.
A little bit longer than that. What about the Legos Disney Plus Star Wars special? What did you think?
I adored that. It was. I really liked the Lego movie that came out a few years ago. I really enjoyed that, and so it's got that kind of a zany style. It's to compare the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special to the Star Wars Holiday Special. You can't compare them. They're very different things. The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, they took all the stuff that I like about Star Wars and kind of put it together in a really cute, charming way. And even had a very sweet little wrap up to the story at the end of it, and it was a very nice,
a little bit of our sense of humor too. It was also written for adults. There was the whole, there's no way he's coming back from that about Palpatine. I mean, all those moments, or even if they didn't hit the mark, they were still okay with kind of poking some fun at themselves as far as Lucasfilm goes.
Well, that's just it. That was what was great about it. It makes fun of Star Wars the way that we make fun of Star Wars, while it's still very clear that we love it. There can be things that we tease it for, but ultimately, you know, Star Wars is Star Wars to us. And the Lego Holiday Special, I got the sense that the people who made it felt the same way.
So for those of the people that are watching this on Screen Jocks know, and for those people I'm including this on Let's Get To as well, our holiday special, might not know that I always give you the last word, but this time I'm going to take the last word and I'm going to say, Happy Life Day, pal.
The Austin Revolution Film Festival presents Let's Get To Extra Innings, short films from Twitchy Dolphin Flicks.
Pew, 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 pew. I always shoot first. Hi. James Christopher again, and as we near the end of the Christmas special, we actually have another new segment for you, and that is Let's Get To Extra Innings, or Let's Get To's Extra Innings, I guess. As stated before, and as sort of stated over and over again, I was an independent filmmaker for 12 years, and I retired after making our film A Chance of Snow. This was my premiere jacket. You like it? Chance of Snow, now available for you on Amazon Prime. Shameless plug. But I retired for a lot of reasons. But one of the things that doesn't leave you, if you're in independent film and you're a storyteller, you never stop wanting to tell stories. And I have a lot of great satisfaction and creative outlet through this show, the way we approach that, but there's still an itch there. And for those of you who don't know, like independent, particularly what we did, which was micro budget, no budget stuff, it's all blood, it's sweat and tears, and you do it for a reason, and the reason is, again, the itch. And so I started to think about maybe doing some sketches and short films for the show that would tie into the love of baseball, help scratch the itch, help kind of engage some of the people in the creative film community that I'm close to. And I decided that I was going to do something for the Christmas special, and that's what led us down the road to It's a Wonderful Astros Life. And it is, of course, a parody or an homage to It's a Wonderful Life, the James Stewart Christmas classic. But I also wanted it to be my last statement on the Astros sign stealing scandal. And I promise this is my last statement on it. And I wanted to encapsulate all the ways I felt about that incident, including being tired of talking about it and having a spouse who's tired of hearing about it. And that's what led us down the road to create the short film. I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun to make. It was fun to be collaborative with some people that I worked with in my career before. And even if you're not an Astros fan, and even if some of the jokes maybe wear on you, and even if you don't necessarily agree with the premise that I make in the film, I hope you can at least connect to what it's like to love a team and know that because you love that team that much, you're out there for that team. And I know some of the people that I've connected with on Twitter through baseball feel the same way. So I hope you enjoy the very first Let's Get to Extra Innings short film, It's a Wonderful Astros Life.
This is the story of a Stros fan named Jim. He's a nice fellow and loyal, that's him. He knows the Astros cheated and he knows it was wrong. But why have the lies gone on so long? Lies about buzzers and how much it helped. Pain to the team isn't all that's been dealt. A war of words in the most unhealthy of places. No, not DC, but Twitter of all spaces.
It's been a year. It's been over a year, and it doesn't stop. And just because I happen to have a baseball show and I happen to be an Astros fan, I'm not like the guy on the grassy knoll. I banged no cans. But you still have people wishing for hurricanes to come back and death threats. It's just, when does it stop? And look, just because I am saying I think other teams cheated too, it's not an exoneration. It's just me trying to point out the bigger problem. If we're really going to fix the game, what?
I mean, just turn off your phone, honey. It's really that easy.
It's not that easy. Because if I turn off the phone, then I let the ignorance win. I let the false narrative go. And it's not worth it. It's not fair. And I have to stay fighting because this injustice will not stand, man. This is the hill I die on.
Okay.
And let's not leave Jim Crane out of this. Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, who sold his soul, and who did he leave holding the bag? Not the players, because they somehow are baptized the minute they change zip codes. No, it's the fans that are out there every day fighting for this team. And sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes I don't even know if I should say it. Sometimes I wish the Astros had never existed.
Okay, honey. Good night.
No, I'm not kissing you if you're not taking this seriously. Good night.
So Jess rolls her eyes as she turns off the light, and Jim curses baseball's long, dark, dead night. The next morning, Jim wakes, feeling bad for the rant. To avoid an apology, he knows he just can't.
I'm really sorry about last night, and I'm trying to get better at owning my many, many, many faults. But ranting to you again about that situation, it's not fair to you anymore. And, I love the Astros. I will always love the Astros. But it's the front of the jersey, not the back, and this too shall pass.
Right. Wait. Who?
the Astros. And I know, look, we've been talking about this for 14 months, and it's every time the internet makes me mad, it's Astros this and Astros that. But I'm going to go up and I'm going to do the Christmas holiday special of our show. Everybody's lined up to come on. And then after that, we're putting the Astros to bed. No Astros from now until February. This will be an Astros-free zone.
Quick question. Since when do you care about NASA so much? You typically fall asleep at the planetarium.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Astronauts are the only Astros here. No more Astros. That's funny, by the way. NASA. I like it.
So Jim enters his office with a show to prepare, looking for that perfect Stros hat to wear. His office is a shrine to baseball and Houston's Local 9, the perfect place to reflect and pass the time. But a shock. His Astros hats change and his jaw opens wide. Where it once said Houston, a new town abides. Jim's clever retort, like we all knew he would.
Whoa, this is not good.
Well, maybe not that clever. Now Jim plays along with the baseball god's joke, trying on hats like a good-natured bloke. The Bronx Bombers should fit, but it's just not right. Blue Jays are fun, but for the cold nights. San Francisco's by the bay, but it's still no way. The brown and yellow Padres are rad, but on Jim, still looks bad. The classic Braves lid, but Maddox plus Glavine plus the 90s Astros equals pain. No rhyme for the Cubs. They just suck. Now the Tigers. This is cool. I won't lie. If you ask me, Jim looks just like Magnum P.I.
So clearly I'm still dreaming because caps don't turn into other caps in the really real world, right? So if this is a dream and there are no rules, because apparently there's no rules in this dream, then I can do anything I want to, including having a beer at 10 a.m. Because no one can stop me because, again, with the rules. Well, who is knocking on my door? It had better not be another one of those QAnon believers. He lost. Get over it.
We did it, man. We did it. We signed him, George Springer. Going for 31.
What?
31 rings.
Why are you wearing Yankee gear?
Because we're huge fans of the Bronx Bombers.
And it's 27 rings, Ben.
It's 30 rings.
Name the last three.
2015, 2017, 2019. Embrace the dream, bro!
Yankees at 30, Jim closes the door. He needs to wake up. He can't take much more.
And we are back for another edition of Let's Go Buffs, focused on the AAA affiliates of the St. Louis Cardinals, located here in beautiful downtown Houston, Texas.
I am so excited to talk a little baseball. And what?
What do you mean what? It's your show. You tell me. What are we talking about today?
Why do we do a segment on a AAA affiliate?
Dude, your whole show's about minor league baseball. Houston's the preeminent AAA franchise in baseball. They feed the Cardinals every year. This is Houston baseball, man.
Andy, we have an MLB team.
No, we don't. What are you talking about? Are you playing some sort of joke? Is this April Fool's? We're doing a Christmas episode right now.
Did Jess put you up to this?
Put me up to what? Dude, are you all right? You don't look good. Are you having a stroke or something? There's no way, and we've been over this a number of times, that Major League Baseball, run by the SLEIGH family, is ever going to put a Major League Baseball franchise in Houston, Texas. The city gets no respect. Our baseball gets no respect. We're in a good position. But if we ever did have a team, they'd screw us over. They'd do things like make us play-in games to very serious playoff series at neutral parks, or make us open up roofs to stadiums when you never had it open before. It'd be ridiculous. Our ball club might be minor league, Jim, but you don't need to be ashamed of it. It's like the song says, at least it's AAA.
So, Jim, back on the big league chew, baby, let's talk about baseball's all-time strikeout leader today. What do you say?
Oh, thank God, something normal.
Randy Johnson, baby. The big unit coming from the left side.
No, it's Nolan Ryan. It's Nolan Ryan.
Nolan. So Nolan's interesting. I I would say, again, Nolan was great. He was a little wild at times, but let's be honest, he probably would have had a Hall of Fame career with the California Angels had he chosen not to leave them and start up his cattle business down there in Texas. Now, look, I'm not going to gripe about the guy because he could bring the heat, but he could also pack that all-beef hot dog that you and I have enjoyed so many times up here watching the Cards at Busch Stadium.
Right, because if the Astros don't sign him to the $1 million contract, he doesn't move back to Texas.
Astros.
So we are back on Raiders of the Lost Diamond. We've got Andrew Nelson here. Andrew, it has been a long day. I don't mind telling you, but what really cool stuff are we going to dig up today on Raiders of the Lost Diamond?
All right. Well, instead of going back in time, Jim, I figured we would look at a what could have been story, like how the Staten Island Yankees almost became the Staten Island Pizza Rats.
I dig it. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about how the city of Houston almost got a baseball team that instead went to Nashville.
Hey, what's up?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm having a stroke or what, but no one's ever heard of the Houston Astros, and it is bumming me out.
Right.
Dude, what's wrong?
Look, man, the neighborhood's going downhill. I don't know which gang to join, and it's just hard.
What do you mean? You live in a really posh part of Toronto. Right near the Sky Dome.
Sky Dome? What the heck's a Sky Dome?
Whoa. Sky Dome was never built because the Astrodome was never built, leading to the total economic collapse of Canada. This escalated quickly.
It seems it's true. The team he's loved has been erased. Now he searches his soul, his dog Vader, his safe space. He stands in the yard. The German Shepherd is ready. Jim talks to the dog. Vader listens intently.
I just don't know what happened. My world has become that movie. I'm expecting like the Ghost of Christmas Present, right? Not that movie, the other movie. Or more like it's a bad TGIF sitcom parody of that movie. But this can't be real, right? I can't just change reality because Twitter made me mad. Can I? Am I all powerful? Can I just... Nope. Nothing. I guess they're gone, or still gone, or never here in the first place. Honestly, the math in this is really giving me a headache. What do you think I should do? Right, throw the ball. It's always about the ball.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. We'll root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes you out at the old ball game.
Well, Buck, no more breathing orange fire. No more orbit. No more Mike Scott's no-hitter. No more Biggio's 3,000th hit. No more killer bees. No more Chris Burke walk-off or Jose Altuve's first home run, the inside the Parker where he just didn't stop. No more reminding Cardinals fans every year that Pujols home run, while impressive, was meaningless. No more eighth wonder. No more Crawford box with my brother.
Hello, Jim. Holy Toledo, you look depressed.
Who are you?
I'm Milo. I'm an angel. It's a whole thing. I don't have time to get into it.
Milo, it wasn't supposed to be this hard. I really thought after over a year of this stuff that, I don't know, I'd get through it. But the haters, they just don't quit.
It's because you stopped believing. And a baseball team is nothing without its fans. All the politics that bug you about the game, hypocrisy, doesn't replace the game. Now, was it worth it, losing all your memories?
So there, Jim has had it. The lesson is learned. The wish for no Astros left his memories to burn.
Pitch black at 6 o'clock.
The next morning comes quickly, for it's Christmas Day, a day to be thankful. Let the worries away.
Morning.
Morning. How are you feeling? You slept hard last night.
I'm okay. I just miss baseball. The void and all that. You know how it is.
I'm just glad to hear you say that. You love the game so much.
Maybe maybe the Buffs will have some good players and they'll stick around, you know, before they go up to St. Louis. So.
Huh? Jess looks at her husband, concern in her eyes. Jim's wearing an Astros shirt, and it's just the right size. Jim races to the office, and the miracle is clear. All his Astros stuff is back. It's all really here.
Merry Christmas, Astros hats. Merry Christmas, Astros jerseys. Merry Christmas, Astros pennants. Merry Christmas, Astros bobbleheads. Merry Christmas, Astros stuff. And God bless us, everyone.
Jim and Jess at the tree. A new Stroh's ornament hangs. The love is pure. No more echoes of bangs. But there is a sound just as clear as a bell. A sound from nowhere of a baseball hit well.
My dad said every time a bat cracked, an angel gets its wings.
Way to go, Milo.
And so it's behind them. The hope is alive. 4 months until baseball. Just the void to survive.
And now, on to close it out, the right-hander from Houston, Texas, James Christopher.
So that is a wrap on the episode and a wrap on season 2 of Let's Get To. We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
Absolutely. We want to thank all of our audience members, our listeners and viewers, everyone who's contributed to the show and helped make it what it was, and of course, all of the teams who came on and helped us make a great show this year.
The thing is, we know that 2020 has been rough. The virus, the contraction story that we've been following. And I think it would be real easy to be kind of buried in that and let that go into 2021. But it feels like the best thing to do is to find something to have been that was positive, that you're happy about with 2020. And we've done that.
Absolutely. So one of the things I felt most excited about this year was going up to Chicago and seeing the normal Corn Belters. It was really our first time to travel after COVID had started. And so we were really feeling a little iffy about the whole thing, but really excited to see the precautions that were being taken place at the airport and on the airplane, and felt really safe doing so. Wore our masks the whole time and got to see one of our great friends, Janet Mason, socially distanced, of course, but it was a great memory.
It's hard to see her socially distanced. She's a hugger.
She is a hugger. But also once we got there, the baseball was really great, and seeing the same teams kind of compete against each other in different formats was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. We're about to get a peek into our marriage because Jessica just broke down so logistically, and I'm going to tell you my favorite moment.
Okay.
I had a lot of big moments this season. My first trip to North Dakota, which many people say should be my last trip to North Dakota, but I actually loved it. I had a great time and would go back. I got my very first foul ball, and that was a big moment. And then I got second and third.
I was going to say, and then you got multiple foul
Yeah,
balls.
but those were my biggest moments.
What was your biggest moment?
We were in Round Rock.
Okay, I'm nervous.
We're sitting there, and you sort of said under your breath, I've forgotten how much I miss this. And I think there was a really just sweet moment of why I love you so much and what the game means to us, and it was really, really a beautiful moment. So
that's sweet. I love that.
we didn't rehearse we rehearsed a lot of this, not that particular part.
That's sweet. I love that.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
But next year,
so that being said, we have a lot of things to be excited about in 2021. We're already ready to get back on the road. I'm super excited to get out and see the Omaha Storm Chasers, the Traverse City Pit Spitters, the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders, and the Keene Swamp Bats are all on my list of excited ones to see.
We're going to get out to see the new Appy League in Greenville, Tennessee, those explorers from Sioux City, the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and we're going to get out to see Erik the Peanut Guy at the Tri-City Dust Devils. We cannot wait.
Can't wait. We're coming for you, Erik.
We're coming for you. So we are dressed in our baseballism onesies. We are ready for a long winter's nap.
But wait. Can't forget.
Can't forget what?
We're getting a new puppy for Christmas. And her name is going to be Quint, and she's a sweet little German Shepherd, and we are so super excited.
It's actually funny that we're naming her Quint because most people, there's that meme that's like what you think you're getting and what you are getting is the great white shark when you get a German Shepherd. That's dawned on me this very second. Yeah, so her name is going to be Quint, named after Quint from Jaws. But that's the first name. The middle name has actually been some debate in the family, and we've decided to let our community of minor league, both affiliated independent league and collegiate summer league baseball pick.
That's right.
We know we want to name it after one of the mascots.
Yep.
So you, minor league teams, both again, affiliated Indy and collegiate summer league, you tell us what the middle name, why we should pick your mascot to be the middle name. For example, if we were doing major league teams, the Astros could say it should be Orbit because blank.
But we don't want major league teams.
Nope.
We want minor league teams.
Minor league teams.
Yes.
And that will be AKC registered.
Yes, that's right. So super excited about that.
And when will they find out?
Oh, that's right. We're going to announce the actual name that we've picked on our National Hat Day show.
So sometime in mid-January. So that is the wrap of the show. We hope everybody has a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy Festivus. We even celebrated Life Day this episode. So
why not?
Stay safe, stay sane,
and let's get to